I know we're all a little bit out of practice following the international break, but last week's picks on the Analyst hat-trick were nothing short of a shambles, and I even include our supercomputer in that. We've given it a good shake this week, and I hope you guys in the community have as well. Both of you going 0 for 3 last weekend, and I can be honest with you, it wasn't exactly great from us either. Only 4 of our picks coming in, and yes, I have been writing my apology letter to Brendan Rodgers for going against his Foxes outfit. It is still Andy Cooper who leads the way at the top of our season-long table. Matt Furness picking up a victory last weekend as well. Great for him. He moves clear in second. And, yep, I also, by picking the Saints, were able to move up to go level with you and the supercomputer as well. And maybe I'll have to do the same again later in the show. For now, though, let's head off to arguably the biggest game of the weekend at Old Trafford, and what could be a very pivotal moment in the managerial career at Manchester United for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, apologies here, I'm going to have to read some numbers off a screen for you, because this is actually the 106th game in charge of United for Solskjaer, and in his first 105 games, he has accumulated 194 points. Not bad going, you might think. Well, let's actually have a look at what Jurgen Klopp did in his first same amount of games in charge of Liverpool, and he achieved 196 points. So you could argue that right now, these two are level pegging in terms of their managerial starts. However, it is from the 106th game of Klopp's reign at Liverpool that things really changed. He would go on to lose just one of the following 66 matches, and of course turn them into the juggernaut that we see these days. So this really could be a turning point. Is Solskjaer going to follow along in a similar reign to Klopp, or dare I say it, is his time at the wheel going to steer a little off course? Well, if our win probability model is to be believed, then it's certainly not going to start this week, with Klopp's side being given a 41.6% chance of success, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 25 Premier League matches against United teams, although it was the Red Devils who were the last ones to defeat them with their 2-1 victory at Old Trafford in March of 2018. And perhaps United's biggest problem at home has been the shipping of goals. You see, for 9 consecutive games at Old Trafford, they have failed to keep a clean sheet, and it's their longest run since all the way back at the start of the 1970s, when they actually went on a 10-game run without doing so. There's also, with all these clean sheets failing to be grabbed, made it a problem for them to pick up points. They've only picked up 8 in their last 7 games on home soil. And you in the Opta Analyst community don't believe we'll be seeing United have that run of form come to an end, with the overwhelming majority of you picking Liverpool to be victorious. And we even had a tweet in about this game from Grant Robbins. Thanks very much for getting in touch. He believes that even with 10 men behind the ball, there's no way that United will keep a clean sheet, but he does also state that Liverpool's defence are pretty porous, so we can definitely expect to see plenty of goals. Once again, I'm without a guess for this week's game. I do hope you have all been heading over to theanalyst.com though and checking out some of the great features we've had building up into this one, including an incredible data visualization preview of the game. As a result, it's left to me to tick through some of the key players that we think you need to look out for this weekend at Old Trafford. We begin with Mo Salah, who scored 3 goals in his 2 away games against United last season. No Liverpool player, though, has scored in 3 consecutive away games against Manchester United. Meanwhile, Marcus Rashford's 4 goals in 8 appearances against Liverpool means that only Wayne Rooney has scored more times for United against one of their biggest rivals in the Premier League. And don't be surprised if Roberto Firmino finds the back of the net in this one, as each of the Brazilians' last 10 Premier League goals have come away from home, and there's only 3 players who have had longer such runs. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a pause here for you to think about who they could be. Well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is one of them, his run of 11 coming in 2002. And then it's Harry Kane and Ryan Giggs tied at the top on 13. So to us analyst contributors' thoughts, and well, if you're a Manchester United fan, get the hate mail ready. None of us have picked the host to come out victorious, and only Andy believes they might be lucky enough to get a draw. We will either all have egg on our face come Sunday night, or can feel fairly smug about what we think. Let's turn our attention to Saturday's games now, and we are once again heading down to St Mary's. We can't stay away from the South Coast here, because Southampton will have been buoyed by that victory against Leeds last time out, and now they've probably got what could be argued is the perfect opponent for them. You see, Burnley are on the current longest winless run amongst the top 4 tiers in English football with 11, and it's even worse for Sean Dyche's side. They have failed to score on 7 occasions during that time. So perhaps it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that our win probability model is backing the Saints to be victorious in this one, with Ralph Hasenhüttl's side being given a 39.7% chance of victory. And one thing they can't get too downhearted about is if they fall behind, because all 5 of Burnley's Premier League goals this season have put them ahead in a match. Obviously, the 0 wins they currently stand on means they have dropped a joint highest 10 points from a winning position this term alongside Newcastle. So what positives can we bring you, Claret's fanbase? Okay, Southampton have managed to keep 2 clean sheets in their last 3 home league games on home soil, but that came after a run of 11 without having kept a single clean sheet at home. And scoring has also proved a real challenge for the Saints too, having netted just twice in their last 5 home Premier League games. Burnley have won 2 of their last 4 away league matches against the Saints, and that's as many as they managed in their first 25 league away meetings prior to this run. But that positivity is going to be crushed by you in the Opta analyst community, with a lot of you backing the Saints to go marching in here, and it really will be a battle of youth against experience. Burnley have the oldest average starting age so far this season at 29 years old, whilst only Arsenal and Brentford have a younger average age amongst the starting 11 than Southampton's 25 years and 301 days old. Just one thing here though, don't expect too much action in the first half of this game. Okay, on the plus side, Southampton have only conceded 1 in the opening 45 minutes of games so far this season. However, they have only managed to score 2. So if the traffic's a little busy on the M27, or if the avenue's a little crunched up, see, I did my local geography, or if the Wollaston ferry is unable to run, which it hasn't run since about 1977, you see, did my research here, then really don't rush for the opening 45 minutes. Just saunter up to the ground and take in all the action in the second half. I had thought this game might throw up a few different picks amongst us analyst contributors, but pretty much everyone is going for a Southampton win, and more importantly, following my successful lead from last weekend. Only John is really sticking his neck on the line and plumping for a draw, but it seems whatever stands where the White House once was in Southampton's city centre, they will be celebrating come Saturday night. It's a long weekend of Premier League action that begins tonight, with Arsenal being favourites to defeat Aston Villa. Well, that's at least according to our win probability model, but we have to bear in mind that Dean Smith has won 75% of his Premier League meetings with Arsenal. Only Pep Guardiola has a better win rate against them at 91%, well, at least amongst managers to have faced the Gunners at least 4 times in the competition. Our model is also seeing success for Chelsea, Leeds, Everton, Palace and Manchester City, although don't count out Brighton from picking up a draw against Guardiola's side. Since the Seagulls' promotion to the competition in 2017, they have had more draws at 53 and more goalless draws at 19 than any other side in the competition. Right then, one last game for you this weekend, and it's back to Sunday action, and maybe the worst time for Spurs to be taking on West Ham in yet another Premier League London derby. You see, they have lost each of their last 4 such games in the competition, which is as many as they had done in their previous 17. They haven't lost more consecutive league derbies since a run of 6 between March 2003 and January 2004. Our win probability model, though, sees no cause for concern here, with Spurs being given a 40.8% chance of success at the London Stadium. Until last season, it had been a happy hunting ground for them, winning on the previous 3 such occasions until they lost this exact fixture 2-1 last campaign. It's been a tough time for Hammers fans on home soil recently. Consecutive 2-1 defeats, with the winning goals for the opposition coming in the 89th and 90th minute. And I'm just going to put this out there. I'm just going to say this for you. Please don't read into it too much. But they've not lost 3 consecutively at home in the competition since a run of 4 back in December of 2019, when Manuel Pellegrini lost his job at the helm. But it's good news for David Moyes, at least in our Opta analyst community, as you have gone against the supercomputer and are backing the Hammers to be victorious. And I think we can rule all of those of you who voted for the draw out, because none of Tottenham's last 14 Premier League games have ended level, which is their longest run without a draw in the competition since a stretch of 32 between April 2018 and February 2019. For 2 opposing players, they're going to be delighted to see who they're lining up against. Mikel Antonio has scored more Premier League goals against Spurs with 5 than he has versus any other side, and 3 of these goals have been scored in 1-0 victories, which means those goals have been worth 6 points to the Hammers. Meanwhile, Harry Kane has only scored more Premier League goals against Leicester than the 11 he has against West Ham. But, and it is worth noting this, only 3 of those goals have come away from home. Even so, the majority of us analyst contributors see this one ending up as a draw, despite everything we said earlier about Spurs being on a run where they don't draw. Almost like we should look at the data a bit more, like Kev and Matt have done, falling on either side of the fence. So, just one more game we need to bring you the win probability outcome from, and it's another 2-0 kickoff on Sunday, with Leicester being made 40.7% favourites to defeat Brentford, and we can expect goals, and more goals in this one. The Foxes haven't managed to keep a clean sheet in any of their last 11 away Premier League matches, their longest such run since October 2019. However, the Foxes have scored in each of those 11 games also, with the matches averaging 3.3 goals per game. So, lots of action to look forward to this weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in once again to the Analyst Hat Trick. Don't forget to head over to the home of data-driven storytelling. That is theanalyst.com. We have plenty of great content for you from across the sporting globe. But until next week, I've been Graham Bell, and thank you very much for tuning in, and goodbye.